that was a lot to take in all at once. We're going to go back through it, see what we can pick out. The gold's a little wonky, but I'm assuming that's because it can now go to like 9999 or some shit. Obviously, we have fantastic new board art. It looks like the Stell board art that we saw in the spoiler from Reynad months ago. And obviously, we've got these locked board slots that almost hover over the exact space. I mean, I was about to say it's interesting that you can't unlock the outside ones first, but then why would you? You wouldn't be able to fit anything there except for a small item. We have new toys as well. There's like a little cannon thing here. Looks like we can maybe... Is it a cannon though? It looks like a cannon, but then this looks like a garden. So are we filling the cannon with like garden stuff? Anyway, before I dig myself into a deeper hole, here's the Bazaar website. They changed some things. Pygmalion has a background now. Well, they changed more than that. For anyone that hasn't spotted this recently, the whole thing has changed. They've removed pre-orders, so beta hype, hello. So yeah, pre-orders are gone. A whole bunch of the... I think there was another access here, like the cart's gone. You can't buy access to the game anymore. So unfortunately, if you didn't get in yet, you're not going to be getting in for a little while. And we have some fancy new art. So we can see Stell right in the middle there that we've seen recently. The other three that we've seen for a while. And then a new picture of Mak, just sort of hidden in behind there. We then got a new little showing of the game board and how it might look. But yeah, this one isn't really showing us a crazy amount. There's stuff that should happen, or the stuff that we know that can happen that we can't see here. For example, there's no gold instead of being like 700 that we've seen. But we are seeing some 4 gold item tags in there. So maybe this was from them experimenting with pushing the boundaries. I will say the Arbalest does look a little fancier. I don't know if that's a premium card or whatever. We'll see. And then we got a nice little scannering of art at the bottom as well. Including a happy robot with a balloon, which I'm pretty sure is just called Happy Robot or something. Again, I'll put the image up properly. We can get full-size Andy from this. Again, we'll display, but we have a cool picture of Andy. And armored balloon. So Stella's going to be having some sort of armor, which will be interesting. But yeah, that about does it really for the changes to the website. The biggest change, honestly, is that pre-orders are gone. So if you want early access, I'm afraid there isn't really a way to get it anymore. But hopefully actual access to the game, not too far away. Anyway, we very much appreciate Stephen taking time out of his day to record this for us. Thank you very much. But yeah, it isn't so... We didn't get gameplay, although we did. It wasn't a full gameplay thing, but we got a decent chunk of gameplay from an update that I absolutely did not expect to be dropping today. This was actually pretty damn good. It was stuff that we'd heard sort of like rumors about for a while, and a lot of this makes sense naturally anyway, but I'm very glad we got to actually see it like in practice and see some examples of it as well. That's one thing I'm really craving as we get closer and closer and closer, is like actual examples. Like, show me, like, sure, I think I'm on a level with these guys. I think I understand where you're going with it outside of the ghost thing. I think I understand where you're going with this. So show me that I am. And it's updates like this that really, at least for me, let me realize that, okay, I'm like 99% of the way there. I'm pretty sure I'm there with you on this. Like the examples of the, like the trash-eating monster that is supposedly good at breaking down metal, so they make it like a shield breaker. But then if you beat it, it gives you the Sunderer, which is good at breaking down shields. Like, it might sound very obvious, even for a first-time listener, but it's this sort of thing that when you're building from the ground up, you might not necessarily think of putting in, and is stuff that as a community we've kind of just assumed is happening. And it's good to see that it actually is. Anyway, the real deal, the real big shit, is the little game screenshots we got.
These things are, and we also want to give this idea.
I'm actually going to mute him. So here we see all of our lovely characters aligned along the side, with Pygmalion selected, Vanessa active. In whatever this build was, there wasn't access to any of the other 4, although I swear we did see some Mak stuff. but we'll see. Ooh, this is interesting. So we had this conversation the other day as to whether or not we would want the player base to be split between an unranked and a ranked mode. And if you look at the bottom, we have training, otherwise known as unranked, and classic, known as ranked. So it looks like they are pushing you towards ranked by naming it classic and naming unranked training. But there is a ranked and unranked mode, it looks like. That might not stick, that might not stay. Any of this, anything that happens at this stage is still very much subject to change, so don't take it as absolute gospel. But for now, we have both modes. We see some cool art. These are adorable. These ones along the bottom are absolutely adorable. I wonder if it's like an evolution thing. I wonder if they'll include both. It's like if you face, I don't know, wild dogs early on, if they like attack you from a sewer or something. If you get wild dogs early on, you get one of these adorable ones. And then if you get wild dogs later on, you get like a adult one or something. I don't know. These look cool. These ones at the top are, I don't know, it's something about their face looks a bit realistic to match the rest. Like they're unfinished art, right? You can see just by the way that the edges are. Or maybe they're not unfinished. Who knows? I don't know. Something about this dude's face strikes me as a bit too visceral for the game, maybe. But either way, like, this shit looks pretty cool. I'd love like a Kenku. That's a D&D race. I don't know if it translates. I'd love like a Raven type thief. That'd be really fucking cool. I know birds are often seen as like looking to try and steal shit, you know. They're always after shiny trinkets and stuff. If I were to say which of these two I prefer, definitely this one with the mask, like just pulling it down as he reaches out. That's kind of a cool pose. Fan of that one. Then we go into this awesome design. When I saw this, I was like, is this some sort of like robotic head attachment thing where they've got like Dr. Octopus vibes? And then they added color to it and like toned it down a bit, and it became this. Which, don't get me wrong, this is fucking cool. This is really, really cool. I'd love to see what this ends up being. This is some sort of like merfolk, but they're wearing it looks like a fishy face, but they're wearing a scuba helmet. Is that just like underwater fashion? Can they actually not breathe underwater? Why can't they breathe underwater? Has the Bazaar polluted this planet or some shit? They have very easy access to a weapon. There's literally a knife strapped to their shoulder. And these little claw handy things look like they could be kind of dangerous. And then they're carrying one of these little, like whatever he's carrying in his hand, he has two more strapped to his belt. Seems to be of importance. I couldn't possibly tell you what it was. Some sort of electronic device of sorts. Maybe it's like a hollow projector thing. I don't know. I'm just trying to think of what that's like the Star Wars thing, right? They had the little mini hollow projectors. I don't know. I don't know what this could be, but it looks very, very cool. I'm all for it. That did 50 damage. So it took 50 seconds. It took... Oh, of course it does 50 damage. That's the damage number. I'm an idiot. Yeah, so it does 50 damage and takes quite a bit of time to charge, whatever it is. This little placeholder art, this little dagger in a manuscript of some sort, this seems to be like just the starting weapon that's given to people. It does 3 damage, takes some time to charge. Probably there so that you have a chance to beat this goblin, which, by the way, this goblin also has custom hero power. We'll get onto the hero power stuff in a sec. Yeah, people that pointed that, I think, Milo or Swampsy probably pointed this out. We do have a new toy in the bottom right corner. During this, is this the painting one? There's like little pots of paint here. There's like 2 tools. And then like, I don't know, a weird rock. And like a furnace. Are you able to like paint the rock, put it in the furnace, bring it out, and it does something? That'd be kind of cool. So yeah, now we see, before we saw Vanessa with this item, now we see Pygmalion. All he has is this item. And this is the very first day, very first round. We have 1 gold. Pygmalion still has 100 health in this build, so we know it's at least slightly old, because they're upping that. But we do have this starter dagger. So it looks like we're potentially moving forward going to be starting with a dagger and 1 gold. Then we get given 3 things. We go to one of them. We play from there. This was all because no locked slots. Also that. But we did see this dagger in the locked slots. So this dagger seems to be something that they're sticking with for now. But yeah, I liked what they were saying at this point. He was saying like something, again, that would kind of been mentioned before. And I kind of just assumed that would get taken on. And I was very much behind the standpoint that if there is an item I can buy in the Bazaar, I am playing Pygmalion, I can buy the Jabalian dagger. If I can buy the Jabalian dagger, then the NPCs that I fight, they can also buy the Jabalian dagger. Why would they not be able to buy the same dagger from the store? Obviously, the different classes can buy different things, but that's pretty much because they want different things. You know, that Pygmalion isn't going to the Bazaar to buy guns. Guns do not impress him, or he doesn't remotely consider purchasing guns. So he's never going to go there and buy one. But a thief, or even a different pirate, an enemy pirate of Vanessa's, would definitely go to the Bazaar and pick up the same line of muskets. It'd be kind of cool to see if we had, like, I don't know, like a musket V2 or like a, I don't know, Dragonfire musket or some shit. Just like a cool little twist on. I guess we do have that with the affix system, or the modifier system, as it is now called. So yeah, I guess that's where your sort of spice of life comes into things. You know, if you're Vanessa and you've got a rifle with the fire modifier, then you have, yeah, you've got your like Dragonfire musket, and you're going up against a pirate with just a regular old musket. But otherwise, it's the same item, and that makes sense. But it does also make sense that the monsters would have other items. Like, it's very rare that a monster will have exactly the same item that will be sold at the Bazaar. So I like that they're creating things like fangs, which can be used as art. Here you go. Like, this sort of fang art can be used for a number of different monsters that have fangs. I don't know, maybe it does 3 damage on a 1-second cooldown or some shit like that. And then what modifies it for the monster is their hero power. And the hero power is exactly how they're making monsters feel unique now. And I think it's an incredibly smart way to go, because you can balance that entirely differently to how players are being balanced. If you need to nerf a monster, nerf its hero power rather than the items it has, or rather than even changing the items it has, because that gives you so much granular control over each and individual monster. These ones are adorable. The 2 at the far end were absolutely just so cute. I love him so much. He's got little leaves stuck in his little digger. He's the best. But yeah, so that's how that's working. And then we saw so much crazy good art. I'll wait until it gets to the final stage on this one, but like, this is pretty. Look at the colors. I'm colorblind, even I can tell this is pretty. So this is going to be some sort of, like, I don't know, if I had to guess, a dually shielding item. And they're showing us this because they're talking about how the garbage disposal monster that you can fight will give you shield breaking. It'll give you the Sunderer item once you beat it. So it's just showing you this to be like, you can use this to defeat shields. They're trying to, like, make us have that connection in our minds and show us shielding art while talking about breaking shields. Like, oh, and then we're onto some gameplay. Hell yeah. Show us that gameplay. Oh, it was right at the end, so we're gonna have to freeze this. Boom. So we have a Pygmalion build. We have the same new toy in the bottom corner. The same old background. No new stats. He's got some armor. Yes, he's got some armor, which gives him shielding. Some strength, which gives his items more damage. And some speed, which makes his cooldown charge faster. We have some items that we haven't seen before. So we know that this is grindstone. This makes our items do more damage. I think adjacent items, or at least that's the last we knew. We have the Jabalian longbow, which just does 50 damage, but now does 72 damage because of his buffs. And then we have this little mortar and pestle thing with what looks like lavender in it, I guess. I don't know, I'm colorblind as fuck. But yeah, some sort of incense in it, but that's doing damage. We have a book with the Bazaar gem on it that's doing damage. And we have this cool Cobra dude who's also doing damage. Obviously, all of that damage is buffed by at least 11 from his strength. And then even more from the Grindstone. I wonder if they're testing Mak cards on Pygmalion. You might be right, because these two, especially, and actually probably all three of them, do look like Mak colors, for sure. They are very Mak colored. And they fit the theme as well, right? Mak is all about poison. Mak is all about alchemy. And to be good at alchemy and stuff, you need to know your shit, so a book. But he's also very green. And maybe that's why these items are existing for Vanessa, right? Maybe this is a Mak item that they're testing. We see that we've still got the same old hero powers as we've always had. But they have this new hero power, which I didn't catch what it did. And they offer us the Sunderer. Oh, look at that freeze frame. So we heard about the Sunderer in the AMA from the devs. That this will help you break through shields. Now, this currently reads that it does 5 damage and reduces your opponent's shield by 100 shield. That's a lot of shield to remove. Like, a lot of shield. Considering it does 5 damage, a Jabalian longbow takes quite a bit of extra time to charge. It's like 18 seconds or something, I think, was default. Way back when, that could have changed, numbers could have changed. But on 6-second cooldown, this does twice that damage of shield, and then an extra 5 damage. I'd be interested to see which way this triggers as well. Does it deal 5 damage, then reduce shields by 100? Because that could be kind of shitty. If they only have, like, 15 shield, the way this currently reads is that it does 5 damage to the shield, reducing it to 10, and then 100 damage to shields, reducing it to 0 shield. But they're still at maximum health. Whereas if it was the other way around, if it did 100 damage to shield and then 5 damage, it would wipe out the 15 shield and then do 5 damage to their face. So it's important however this is going to be working, but the point is that it exists. This is temporary card art. Do not get stuck up on this. There is no way, I hope, that's the final art. I mean, it's even got this weird like circle border thing. Yeah, that's temporary. That's them having fun. The point that they very briefly made is one I want to hammer home, is that there are these new counterplay options in the Bazaar. So you have your shield breaking, you have your dazing when enemies hit you, and things to that effect. These are meant to shore up your defenses and cover your weaknesses rather than counter the opponent. Sure, you could pick up Freeze and Daze and Sunderer and just try to be a weird counter to everyone else's build, but you're never going to be doing damage yourself. So that's gonna suck pretty bad. The point of it is, as he kind of explained in the video, if you need to go face, if you need to do damage to their actual health pool, I'm sure there are items out there that interact with dealing face damage, but their shielding is getting in the way, then yes, you will potentially want to pick up some shield breaking. Equally, if you feel like you are vulnerable to builds that are going to attack you regularly, if you have very slow moving items and you're worried about being burst down, then you can pick up things like electric eels, which will daze them every time they hit you. So yeah, there are counterplay options, but they're there to shore up your defenses, not to defeat them. Here we have Pygmalion using obviously not Pygmalion items, I think. Like, this looks like a Stell item for sure. This, like, winged air, like, turret thing. That's a Stell thing, right? This, like, infinity loop, almost definitely a Mak thing, if I had to guess. Heaven knows what this one is. It gives shielding, whatever it is, so it could be Mak, it could be Stell, and the same with this end one. Probably Mak, because Mak deals with, like, potions and alchemy and gems and shit like that. But it could also be a Stell thing. I would also say, you guys might be out there being like, no, that turret is definitely a Mak thing, it's green. Mak is green and Stell is yellow. I can't see the difference between those two colours. So, you guys at home might be able to see better than me which of these cards belongs to whom. but just so we know, this is the only Pygmalion item on Pygmalion's side here. But in this case, he has Brass Knuckles all the way up to 44, which is really cool, because he has 13 strength, and Brass Knuckles makes double use of strength? Triple use of strength? I can't remember. It's a lot anyway. But they were showing us this because this cool little weird beholdery tentacle thing has its own hero power. It has this like cultist like hand thing, which is probably temporary art, but who knows? They might actually replace it because this is from the actual cultist card. But it's going to give a different effect. I'm trying to see what that effect is. Oh, here we go. 10 strength until you take damage. There you go. So this is good against slow builds. So if you're a quick-firing Vanessa build, you may as well fight up against this thing, because all talk, its ability... It's probably better to explain it like that, right? These aren't necessarily hero powers. These are monster abilities. Its monster ability makes it hit a lot harder until it gets hit. Also, what was it that froze it? Did we see what triggered to freeze? It must have been this infinity loop thing, right? Oh no! They flicked ahead. It was this gust thing. The Stell weapon shot a icicle. So we have different animations. We have some of the visual effects in now. These tooltips for the freeze look fucking cool as well. As that icicle fires out of Stell's card, smashes into these, they all have this like frigid glow to them with these little icicles coming out of the sides. That looks really cool. That looks really cool. They've done excellent work there. And then the rest of it is still doing these little cuts. We do see, what's this attack? Oh, is there some healing coming in from this, or like some shielding? Yeah, so the shielding had its own little effect there as well. Should we watch it in slower speed? I memed about this earlier because he was talking quickly, but I'm doing it now just so I can watch animations. That was still fast. It's at the bottom corner of our screen. Yeah, we have this little light trail. Should I go back and watch the freeze animation? In super slow speed. You eyeballing me is the name of the monster in the top left. That's hilarious. Yeah, most of them are normal. Icicle fires across, shatters into this freezing effect. Beautiful. Great work. So, this was an excuse. This veteran octopus, apparently. Temporary card art, I imagine. Yeah, so they were using this as an example of... as an example that not every monster will be for every build. If you come across the veteran octopus and you have electric eel as one of your items, right? That dazes the enemy every time you're hit with a weapon, then this might be a good encounter for you, because they are going to hit you a lot. If you already struggle with like small item Vanessa builds, then this is not the fight for you to be in. And if you see this veteran octopus appear on your thing of 3 merchants or your 3 events, then pick one of the other 2. Equally, if you think you can take it, pick this, because it might be easy for you. And if it's easy, like, I assume these encounters will be balanced roughly by how much damage they're supposed to be doing to you, as well as when they're appearing and how good the items are. So if you think you can take minimal damage from something like this, then you're going to be rewarded more than someone who, you know, it took most of their health to kill this. So let's see. And our Pygmalion build here, I feel like they've kind of just, for this build maybe, just thrown class-specific items out the window, because we have a Vanessa item, a Pygmalion item, a Vanessa item, and a Mak item, as far as we know. But yeah, these switchblades are going to do crazy work. So look, this has 100 armor until it attacks. Right. So Vanessa builds, or like the quickfire builds, aren't necessarily strong against this octopus. I kind of like that. It's cute. And then ba-ba-bam. And we're struggling against it somehow. I guess this build is struggling in general. Oh no, it's not. This build was 4 wins, 2 losses. And that's 4 PvP wins and 2 combat losses. That might not even be against a player. So he might be doing well this run. And then he isn't. You get murdered by the octopus. That's what you get for fighting a monster that you can't take. Alright, here we go. Queen Bee, 24 HP. Dormant is its ability, I would have to guess. I'd like to be able to hover that before we go into battle. I would like to actually be able to read the ability. Even if I can't see its build, I love that. Oh my god, I did not... So, I saw one of you guys point out the space laser, or I saw you say something about a space laser, and I was like, do they mean that, like, dually turret thing? Like, that card art was cool, I don't remember seeing... That space laser is fucking awesome. Holy... I nearly fell off my chair. Holy shit. That's got to be a Stell item, maybe? Do you want to know why I think Stella, not dually? Look how pretty the design work on the edge of this is. On these, like, metal plates that stick out. Also the colour of it, but the pretty design work, that's a sign of Stell, surely. We have, like, a poison dagger that's, well, I'm guessing poison. That's got to be a Mak thing. Some incense, probably a Mak thing, and then the default dagger. This is early on as well. No wins, no losses. This is first day. So in the first day, you can own a space laser. Fuck yes. But for this build, at the very least, it looks like they threw class-specific items out the window, and they were just testing all class items. So this is the Sunderer triggering. We don't have any shield, so we're not going to see it. We don't have any shield up here. We do have this item, like a flying carpet. I think, did we vote on this? I feel like we voted on the flying carpet. Anyway, we have probable Stell item, probable Mak item, against this Demon Lord dude. You actually can't see his name because we zoomed in. But he has the Sunderer card. So it's going to do 5 damage, and when you use a weapon, remove 5 armor from your opponent's armor permanently. There you go. So this guy's pretty cool. Like, it will... Like, he's there to counter armor. So if you know, I don't have any armor, I'm a Pygmalion max health and healing build, or I'm just a Vanessa all-in build, and you can go against this guy and be pretty happy. I don't know if the flames are animating on the monster, or if he's animating with flame because he's burning. I feel like it's the burning. And then we had, like, a stun effect. What the fuck is doing? Like, we are doing so many different statuses to him. Yeah, I feel like the burn effect was showing on his card. Also, I'd like to point out we have 17 gold. It's not crazy, but it's good. So yeah, little stun effect. Poison is maybe that his card, the background of his card art is a different color. I can't quite tell. There you go, he's burning again. Stunned again. Oh, we were fucking him up. The general attempt, or the general goal for this video, was to show us the direction they were going with NPCs and monsters. And I feel like the direction they're taking for NPCs and monsters was really good, or is really good. The NPCs are supposed to make us feel like we're part of this wild, frantic, intergalactic bazaar, and I think it does a good job of that. We can run into everything from a humble thief to, you know, someone who owns a planet, like, and it will feel like you're running into that sort of thing. You know, the thief is going to have a little shitty dagger. The assassin is maybe going to have backup and really cool expensive weapons, but beating him will give you really cool stuff. Beating the thief just means you don't die. So I think the NPCs do a really good job of that, and the monsters having their own sort of weapons like fangs and stuff, which you might be able to take, but more than likely are going to be taking gold from them, is also really cool. That was the main thing they were trying to tell us with this video. But the main thing we learned with this video, I feel like, is from freezing through it and going through and looking at all the gameplay. We got to see, for me, one of the bigger ones is seeing some of the SFX coming in. That is not going to be the end of it, but it looks really cool without being over the top. And we've been told for, at this point, nearly years, that the SFX is going to be nuts. And the small little shimmer of we got to see of it was really, really cool. Some of the new items look fucking badass. The art looks incredible. There was a lot of meat behind this video, and I very much appreciated that and getting to see it. I'd like being able to see these little hints in there. Anyway, if you're interested in more Bazaar stuff, make sure you subscribe to the channel because we're dropping basically everything here. I've been GameStarGreg, and I'll catch you in the next video. Ciao.
I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean, I'd rather be a poser in a magazine, I'd rather be pretty much anything.